let's take a look at simple and compound interest calculations and how they affect money and money values. So the first being simple interest, it's defined as the interest paid only on the original amount of the principal at each specified interval, such as annually. Let's say you earn 5% simple interest on a $10,000 investment in a bank. And again, it's interest paid only on the original amount. So you'll notice that this is a simple interest bank down here. That's letting you know that that's the case. And here is where you would work this out. So you would start with the original $10,000 and then you would have the 5% interest. Remember that when you have the simple interest, you need to turn that into a decimal. So you move the decimal back 2 places. That's where the 0.05 comes from. You simply multiply those two numbers together and that tells you that you're going to make $500 per year. Then you add that $500 on and at the end of year 1, you'd have $10,500. Add on $500 again and now you're at $11,000. This equation over here is starting at $10,000 and we're just adding $500 per time. Or most people would write that as 500x plus 10,000 in more of a y equals mx plus b formatting. The key to knowing about this particular type of problem is that it just comes down to the fact that it's one calculation. There's one thing you're calculating and what you're calculating is that interest one time and that's the amount that you get every year. Compound interest is different. Compound interest is interest paid on both the original principal and the interest previously earned. So you basically end up getting money on top of your money. So if you have the same 5%, but now it's compounded interest in a bank, now we're looking at saying, hey, this is going to be compounded. That's going to be different. So if you earn 5% compound interest on a $10,000 investment, and again, this is the whole idea of it being compounded, you're going to start with the same 5% of 10,000, which is $500, but then you're going to earn money on top of that money. So let's take a look. This gives you 10,000 times 0.05 right here, which would then be $500 extra the first year. You add that on, you're at 10,500, but then you do 5% again. Now you're earning 525 the second year for a total of 11,025. So now you've got more money than you previously had when compared to simple interest. This formula over here is it starts at 10,000 and it's multiplied by 5% more than you started with, hence 1.05, because the 1 stands for the 100% you already have, and then plus an extra 5%, 1.05 to the x. That is a very exponential type situation, so your money is going to grow on top of your money. Now you'll notice that I am stating that this is the whole key idea, that this is many calculations. So recalculating your money on top of your money over and over again, the more calculations you have, the more money you're going to earn. Here are the tables as a comparison. You'll notice they both started with 10,000. They both went up 500 the first time, but then in the compound side, you have money on top of your money and it is more at the end. So this ends up with 11,500. This ends up with 11,576.25. That is significantly more money. Then the equations we talked about already, this is more of a linear situation with the simple interest. So this is considered to be more linear, and then the compound interest is considered to be more exponential. So when things are exponential, you're going to get that curve to your money, whereas the linear is just going to be, kind of straight and boring, so to speak. You'll note that this equation format only works when the interest is compounded on an annual basis only. So this equation is fine if your money is only compounded annually. Well, I'm here to explain to you that that's not typical. Typical compounding is usually quarterly, monthly, daily, weekly, and sometimes semi-annually. So let's take a look at how this has its own unique or different mathematical equation. The equation or the formula that you're going to need to take note of is this one right here. It is the investment formula for compound interest. The I stands for the total investment. The P stands for the principal, which is the amount invested or taken out as a loan. The 1 stands for 1, as in 100% of your money that you start with. You are always going to have that 1 as part of the equation. The rate has to be converted to a decimal. So you'll notice that if it's 5%, it's actually 0.05. We just simply move the decimal back 2 places and put that into the equation as a decimal. The N stands for the number of compounds per year. So that's going to vary as the number that you put in. Could be quarterly, monthly, weekly, and so on. And we'll talk about that in the next couple of slides. So here, the last letter that you haven't identified is the T, and the T stands for time in years. So there is a list of your variables and what you need to be able to substitute in, and it becomes a calculator typing activity. Type it in correctly and you'll be off making good money calculations. So we need to understand the N, the number of compounds. The number of compounds could be quarterly, which means it's 4 times a year because there are 4 quarters. It could be monthly for 12. Weekly, there are 52 weeks per year, so we use 52. We use 365 when compounding daily, meaning I'm going to recalculate my money value every day, and that would be with 365. And then semi-annually is 2, meaning twice per year. Those are the terms you need to understand and the numbers you need to substitute for them. So let's try $10,000 compounded monthly at 5% for 3 years. APR, this right here stands for annual percentage rate. You hear or see a lot of that on TV commercials. So you take the 10,000 and you just simply put it in the front. The 10,000 goes here. Then you take the 5%, you convert that to a decimal, and that goes here. You understand that you're compounding monthly, so you use the number 12 twice in your calculator typing. And then finally, you have a 3-year term or a 3-year time period, and so therefore the 3 goes in the end. Then you just type that in as it's shown on the screen, and you get this number. And remember, it's money, so we go to 2 decimal places with correct rounding. Now, I would like you to try some simple versus compound interest practice problems. Watch out for the difference between the simple interest and the compound because you use different ways to calculate those values. Remember, simple interest is only one calculation, and then you continue to add on that same amount each time. Whereas in compounded interest, we're going to be using that bigger formula that we've been working on. Go ahead and enter these answers in to see if you're doing this correctly.